So, welcome to Love and Lunch with Joanna Keeble and Joe Cooper. We're going to talk a little bit about self-care today. And so I'm going to start by saying I'm Joanna Keeble. I'm a certified life coach and NLP practitioner. And you can find me at bigbeautifulboundaries.com. I have an online course all about boundaries and confidence and consent and all sorts of things that can help you have higher quality relationships and interactions in all parts of your life. And I'll hand you over to Joe Cooper.
Beautiful, thank you. Yes, I'm Joe. I am a dating, sex and relationship coach, and I help women to dismantle years of shame and to really start to embrace their full sexual power, so they can have fulfilling relationships and they can really start to manifest and magnetize anything they want within their relationship.
Gorgeous. So I'm just sharing this to my page now because we're doing a very exciting thing today where we don't do an intro and we just go straight in. Blam! No foreplay. Here we are. Take it.
I love that. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm just having a look too. Okay.
All right, so that's done. Ta-da! And we're back in the room. So self-care. I mean, I think we touched on this last week. I'm definitely thinking about it a lot. I always am. But especially when we come into a new year, because this thing at the end of the year, now it's not, you know, sort of written in stone. It's not everybody's experience or everyone's ritual, but there is a thing when it gets cold and dark where I, for one, disappear into duvet and chocolates, and I let myself have that, oh, go on, it's Christmas period of indulgence. We need to keep warm. There's fuck all going on outside, and I let myself have all of that. And then peak somewhere along the line, I reach a peak where I'm like, I can't keep doing this to my body. Something has to change. And yeah, and then eventually it takes me a while to actually find a way to start making changes or find the actual desire, where the desire for a Ferrero Rocher is topped by desire to feel alive in my body, and I'll start making changes. So I don't call it New Year's resolutions, but it's just, it does seem to coincide with New Year when there's just like a, right, that's enough of that. These are my new desires.
Really interesting. I feel like this feels really different for me from any other year. And, you know, I would often think, okay, we're getting into the new year. I just need to do. If I don't plan and I don't plan my year out, then fuck, shit is going to hit the fan. I'm going to fail, blah, blah, blah. This isn't, you know, I haven't laid all my eggs out, and what's going to happen? And there's something that I'm experiencing right now around the richness of being still. And it feels really delicious. It feels like, you know, like the analogy that I really like is like this really deep, slow unfolding when you get meringue, or when you make a meringue, and you have to really, and I remember my mother teaching me this when I don't make meringue, but I see her do it. And there's something around the sugar and the air that you have to do it really slowly. And so there's something that I'm experiencing around, well, in order to be able to be productive and to be able to hold people in my field and to do these things, like, I really need to start listening. I need to really start listening more to the things that I may have ignored, or I think I need to do these things, or I think I need to achieve this, but there's something that I'm paying attention to in a very kind of like deep and spiritual realm, and being like, oh, there's something about the nuance of energy which is really serving me at the moment. And I think for me, that fundamentally has been part of really looking after myself and nourishing, to be able to just be in stillness and to create more time for myself. And I notice when I don't have 2 hours on an evening for myself and not logged on, like, things feel a bit different the next day. And yes.
Yeah. Well, just thinking about the way that people's approach to their time and the way that
Mm,
people's experience of their time has changed right now, and how that
mhm,
impacts what our self-care needs to look like.
mhm,
So oftentimes I think we find ways to numb ourselves or distract ourselves or entertain ourselves or soothe
mhm,
ourselves that are maybe not available at the moment. There's a lot of things happening in our personal lives
mhm.
and in the world at large that we like to avoid.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not against that per se,
Mhm,
because we can't look at everything all the time. Like, it's not actually, there's no sort of judgment on turning away from what's going on and
mhm,
putting a bit of attention on yourself,
mhm,
or, whatever. But what I will say is, right now, with people, well, over the last year, spending more time in isolation in one form or another, either with their partner or family or away from partner or
mhm,
family. And there's going to be things that they haven't wanted to look at. Maybe they were pacing themselves to deal with the trauma in their way, in their own time, or maybe they were saying no to something they weren't ready to look at.
mhm,
And then all of their coping techniques, well, many or most of them might have been stripped away by lockdown. And
mhm,
so it's a different situation. There might be people having realizations about themselves or about the world that are uncomfortable and unavoidable. And so then how do you, what do you do from there to take care of yourself?
Beautiful question. Absolutely beautiful. And I asked myself this question yesterday, and I think seriously, there's something that I feel like I'm getting to know myself every day. You know, my internal book is getting bigger and bigger, and I'm like, oh, that's what I need when I'm feeling this.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, coming out to just being really still, and it's just like there's something about honoring feelings and the consciousness around actions and intentions, and to really understand maybe why am I doing, or why am I acting? Is there something that will best serve me here? And, you know, there'll be times in the week where I will need to self-soothe, or
Mm.
I will ask for love and attention and kindness. And oh my God. And I received some yesterday from a friend. We're having a conversation, and it was just so beautiful. The love that the attention that I was getting, the quality of attention, the quality of love, the kindness that just exuded from her. I felt so held in a conversation that we had together. And I was just like, that alone, I can alchemize things really more easily and quite quickly, actually, by actually understanding myself and knowing what I need. It's such an important practice, you know, for me to be able to do that, because I can navigate things. I don't want to either, like you were saying, like numb or suppress, or sometimes I do have things that are probably not the best things for my health, but you know, I do it very consciously. I give myself much permission for that, and I'm like, it's
Permission.
permission. It's all
Yes.
about permission, baby. Permission to ask for what we want,
Mm. Yeah.
permission to be able to have what I want and be okay. You
Yeah.
know, the only thing that's making it not okay is the mind chatter or the negative thoughts, you know, telling me like I'm bad, I shouldn't have that. And it's just like, fuck off,
Yeah.
thoughts.
I was
I
thinking about that this morning, because we were talking about like self-care rituals,
mm,
and what popped up in my head is something I've pointed to more, pointed to before, don't know what's happening with my vocabulary, where it's a sort of meta approach to self-care. Because it's all very well saying, oh, I'm going to do this exercise regime and I'm going to start eating well and I'm going to do this and that. But what we can do when we have all of these sort of this list of external goals, that it can be quite disconnected from how we actually work. And the key for me is to not take self-care or well-being practices and then use them as a tool to hit myself with. So when you're talking about permission and acceptance, there's got to be a softness to it where I can say, okay, I'm going to try this thing. I'm going to put this on for a week and see how it goes. And then if I don't do it at all, to not take that as an excuse to berate myself, but to actually pay. It's like a constant negotiation to get all of me on board and to find out what it is that I need. So and without assuming that I know what that is at the start. It's actually a journey of discovery to find out how I work and how I can best take care of myself. And one non-negotiable the whole way for me is that I'm going to hold myself in loving kindness. And there's no excuse for me to not do that. And if I don't do that, I don't get to berate myself. And if I do berate myself, then I have to choose to stop doing that whenever I'm ready without layering more shame on top and just so that the acceptance, I think acceptance is a really good word. So stuff that people notice about themselves in the last year, it's like, oh my God, I don't think this is the right relationship for me, or oh my God, I'm extremely lonely, or oh, I think I have a problem with XYZ. Bring some loving kindness there, and you know, can you find a piece of that that's okay? It's kind of got to be okay, so that you're not just maintaining a level of intolerable anxiety that's actually going to work against your self-care, give you even less of what you want, and let yourself have a bit of space to, you know, have realizations that you didn't recognize before. Maybe be in a situation that's difficult. You might not be able to solve all your situations straight away, right?
Yeah.
And let that be okay. Can you love yourself there? Yeah. I'm sort of wondering now, should we talk about like specific favorite
I
self-care
actually
things?
do need a tissue. So I'm going
Okay.
to go and
Self-care live.
I just need to go and like, it's cold, and yeah, I'm just going to turn my camera off for just a second.
Okay, do it.
A second.
I'm turning my data off on my phone to make sure we have max, what do you call it, bandwidth. Yeah, so I'm kind of wondering how everyone watching this approaches self-care. Do you have like an excited list where you get together and you're like, right, we're going to do New Year's, like these are the things I'm going to do? Or do you just have your go-to that's there for your whole life? Do you pick up things that you put down? And here's one thing that happened to me recently that was helpful. I woke up in the morning and I found myself thinking back to times in the past when I've taken care of my body, when I felt really healthy, when I've felt like, oh, I've made some positive changes and I'm really feeling the benefit. And I thought of what those things were, and I just picked up my phone, opened a note, and I made notes, writing down all the things that popped into my mind that were like, oh yeah, I used to eat that. That was really good. Oh yeah, I used to avoid that thing and that really worked. And yeah, I found that really, really useful to just remember a lot of things that I've done in the past. For one reason or another, I stopped doing them. And yeah, and picking them up again. And then it's easier for me than inventing a whole new eating habit, for example. If I think, oh, I used to actually make chia gel, I could do that really easily and then just put that in some juice in the morning or water in the morning. It's like a no-brainer, something that really helped me. Yeah. So I'd love to know what self-care rituals you're vibing on right now, Jo.
Yeah, I was just looking to see if anybody has commented or yeah, is with us and has any self-care things. Yeah, what am I vibing on? Interesting. I'm vibing on my love right now. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Okay.
Yeah, my what am I vibing on? What is self? I mean, for me personally, it looks different every day. I think the one thing that kind of felt like a bit of a game changer for me is to have space for myself both morning and evening. That kind of felt like a huge game changer to set myself up for the next day. Like, I literally wake up excited, absolutely buzzing to start the day. And I'm like, wow, because there's something about recharging in a way that is, you know, like I write gratitudes on an evening. I really come to a place of like just really being quiet and grateful for what is. And I think there's just something about, you know, one of my things at the moment is like, how can I stay open to love? How can I stay open to love, my own love, but other people? You know, I have had habits where I could quite easily get angry or irritated, and I notice when I get into those parts, or I can notice when those kind of feelings of frustration or anger, especially when, you know, I am living with people during lockdown, which I'm not used to doing. There's something around how can I stay open here? I think that is actually my practice of self-care, is about open, being receptive, and am I coming from a place of love or fear? And if I'm coming from a place of fear, what can I give myself, or what do I need to actively change? Because it's far more pleasurable for myself and for other people to really come from a place of love. And so that's the thing for me. And it will take a different form every day. So there is actually there's not a specific thing. Like, I think, you know, I read things around self-care, like you need to put on your moisturizer, your serums, your oil, and bam, 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 you are a beauty queen and all of this stuff. And I'm like, it actually is more simple than that for me. It's about openness, receptiveness, and love. And those are my three ingredients for self-care. Like,
like openness to yourself, right?
yeah, openness. Like, wow, I am so grateful that I had a walk this morning and the sky is blue. Let me just receive that. Let me just receive what is around me at this moment in time. And there's just something about one, it's quite simple, maybe not to some people, but it's just, yeah, the awareness. There's nothing like it. And I think for me, that has been, yeah, that has all been coming around in a full circle again. Part of being able to be still. So I'm not just marching through life thinking that my list of actions for the year is like do, but it's actually being present to what is.
Yeah. Present. You know, I've written down that's making me really happy is pleasure, permission, presence. I think that presence, when you're talking about it's different every day, right? That is about staying present with yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Steph has said journaling daily. Totally love that and agree. And daily meditation. I cannot survive this world without daily meditation. That is a non-negotiable for me, an absolutely non-negotiable. And I'll tell you something, people, if people are listening, is like, I tell this to my clients the other day, like, if you go to bed at night and you, I don't know, forgot your pen and paper, or you're not journaling, like, I actually speak them out to God and actually speak my gratitudes out. And it doesn't always have to look how we think it has to look, but it's like, let's just get creative. You're still speaking them, you're still having that moment to reflect. And yeah, it's beautiful, really
I love
beautiful.
that. I love that. And I've said that before, and that's something on my course that I invite people to do, is sort of to curate your own experiences for you. You can trust that you know what's useful for you. So and it's all about applied meaning, right? So when you put some intention on something and you have it mean something to you,
Yeah.
that's everything. You can just decide in any given moment to just pull your attention in a little bit and feel yourself, notice how you're feeling, and then put a little bit of attention out and notice where you are, right?
Beautiful. I love that you said that, attention now. It's like what what's the word? I'm getting jumbled here. Like what it, you know, there's something about not being scared. Like everything is gonna come back and you are gonna get so much more. And I think this thing about like recharging and feeling and knowing and trusting that more is going to come back. So when you're feeling full and great, like spread that. It's like the most beautiful gift you can do is like when you're feeling great, how good does it feel to connect with someone and share that?
Yeah, if you've got some to spare, then that's great.
Yeah.
I did that the other day. I had a moment of supreme childish joy, and I did a hoop video in my heart PJs,
Oh my
and it
God, I
was
love that. I want it.
it was quite funny. And I was like in full child energy. It was like, people need permission right now for some inappropriate joy. So I
Oh,
shared that in a hoop group. And then
totally.
there's moments when you're not resourceful. So I want to say something about that, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm good at saying things that are like, oh, we'll just think of it this way, and oh, I do that. And it can sound like I've always got a way to feel great or whatever. And there was a moment yesterday, so I'm premenstrual, and sometimes that impacts the way sometimes that impacts the way that I think and feel. And it happened to me yesterday, and it's sort of a place where I think I'm dealing with myself, and I think I'm thinking about my life and making plans, and then I realize I've hit a dead end or it's not going well, and then I try and think about something else, and it gets to the point of like, oh shit, the only person I get to talk to today is that voice of dissent. That, and then the voice comes in again, I'm like, oh, it's you again, oh crap. So yeah, so it's just like spending a day with my inner critic in a really bad mood, just going, well, you failed at that. And I'm going, well, maybe I'll just rest today. Well, you rested yesterday. And it's just like, it will just find the down every single time, and it will find the negative or the fear. And yeah, there's a place where we can get into unresourceful states when you feel like you've just got nothing left, and you can't see any hope or joy. You can't access all those high, light, positive, shiny things. And then if you go online and everyone's just like, it's all about attitude, and just think positive and everything's great, and don't worry, it could just be like, I'm gonna stab someone. There's a
I
place
mean,
to
it's
just
spiritually bypassing stuff is
yeah.
like one of the most harmful things that you could do. Black and white, it is, and it just feels yuck. Like not being authentic. It just, I can see right past that, and it's just like, yeah, permission to just be with your flow. I'm conscious of time, but I think, yeah, I really just love what you say.
We've got to have permission to take care of ourselves in that unresourceful state. And what I want to say is, because you were pointing to, like, if you've got it, share it. And I want to do the opposite. Like, it's not just okay to come in and prioritize yourself. It's essential.
Yeah.
Right. And when we nourish ourselves first, that's when we get to share it. I'm sure we've said that before. But
Definitely. Yeah. And I think the thing about being resourceful, I just want to quickly just wrap that bit up. If you honestly sometimes I find it easier if I'm in a state and maybe I've lost connection to my body and I really can't feel and I'm feeling really unresourceful. I'm in a state of overwhelm or deep anxiety and I just can't think. Um, to often think, well, if I had my best friend sat beside me, what would she tell me right now? Or what would I like to hear? And I think there's just something around, sometimes it's hard to just think for ourselves and it's just okay. Let's just pretend I've got a really good friend here or whoever that person is and just being like, what would they say to me? And maybe it may be like, I just need to speak to someone. I need to speak to someone. And it's just like the first step is vital, it's important. And yeah, just to know that it's possible to come into a different to just kind of access that, because it's not easy if you're in a heightened state. And I think the first thing is just sitting and feeling and to make a call. Making a call is very powerful and it's healing at the same time.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So I do a similar thing, but instead of thinking, what would they say? I do that sometimes. And the other one is I think of someone that I really care about and I swap situations. And I say, if they were saying this to me, what would I say to them? And then it's there. I'm like, you know what? And I find myself going, it's okay. Take some time. What do you need right now?
Definitely. And I think that actually gives us the agency to have permission. Also, if I was telling a friend, actually, it's okay just to have half-hour rest.
Yeah.
Because I've now told it to my friend, I can now just like have half-hour rest. And sometimes it's just all we need. But yeah, anyway, this has been really beautiful and gorgeous. Yeah, feeling more toasty. Feeling a bit cold earlier. All right then, my loves. It has been so nice to connect with you all. If you have seen this, hashtag replay or give us a little thumbs up if you would like to, connect with us. We're going to post our links for our groups and is there anything that you want to say, Joanna?
I think I'd love to ask, what's one way that you're gonna take care of yourself today? Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's it.
I love that. What is one way that you'd like to take care of yourself? Powerful. All righty.
It's Tuesday today.
Today. Amazing. All right then, my loves. Well, you can keep in contact with Joanna and I. We're always here to connect with you, and feel free to come into our groups and get more juicy content. We'd love to see you, and thank you for being part of us today.
Lunch. Well, changing 20 minute, 30 minute.
I know. Anyway, my loves, we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye for now.